My turbo-poor fiance wanted us to have a traditional marriage, and I mentioned that I'd be working to help us out financially. Now, he's calling me a gold digger for not being traditional enough, and I'm realizing his red flag is so big, China would be crying with envy. So I, 26F, come from a relatively traditional Asian family. My father owns a rice wine brewery, and my mother helps him with it. Even though I said my family is pretty much conservative, from what I've seen growing up, my father never tells my mother to do all chores, and he helps her with it. My father always says that he can't provide for the family alone, and because of that, she has to work. That's why he never expects her to do everything in the house on her own. Just like how they share the responsibilities to earn for our family, they also share responsibilities taking care of the household. I met my fiancé, 29M, on social media. He's an American who's currently working in my country. We've been dating for 3 years, and have been engaged for 5 months. He always tells me he's looking for a traditional woman, and wants to date with marriage in mind. He said that women who are able to take care of the household and child rearing are admirable, and I always agree with him without much thought because I see that it's an incredible feat. He's working in a small university, and I'm currently working in a hospital. We saved enough to buy a house with my parents' help, but we haven't moved in together though because, Asian parents. On my father's birthday last week, we talked about marriage once again. He doesn't think his income alone would be enough after our marriage, and it's giving him insecurities, so I suggested that I keep working after marriage. That's not a problem because we'd be partners. My father also offered that we take over his brewery. While I found the idea lovely, my fiancé, on the other hand, seemed hesitant about it, but he agreed that I should keep my job. That was where the first problem started. I told him that since I have to work, then I expect he'll help with the household chores later. After I said that, he suddenly got irritated. He said that he had been telling me he's looking for a traditional woman and that now he had been catfished since I don't want to take care of all the house chores since I'd still be working. Whenever he said he's looking for a traditional spouse, I always thought that he'd also be a traditional spouse. I saw him as being the sole provider so that I can focus on taking care of the house and child if we ever have any. But when I told him that, he said I'm a gold digger and materialistic just like every other woman, even when I never once asked him to be the sole provider. He brought that up first. Mind you, I didn't even let him pay for things completely on his own whenever we went out on a date. For example, he paid for dinner, I paid for coffee and movies, and so on. Even my father willingly offered his brewery if we wanted to take care of it as a means to provide for ourselves. So, where's the gold I should have been digging here? That was when I actually put the ring down and told him that I want to break up. I told him he's not traditional enough if he wants a fully traditional wife. I didn't want to deal with someone who could easily call me a gold digger because I want to share the chores that haven't even happened yet. I can't help but think if he could easily say what he said in front of my parents when we haven't married yet, then he could be saying something worse if we're married and alone. I went home alone, and he texted me saying he was sorry and he didn't mean what he said. He asked to meet, but I don't feel like it anymore. However, when I told my friends, most of them told me I was a bit too emotional, hasty and impulsive. They were saying I might look like a jerk because I don't even want to meet him. His mother is now trying to talk me out of it, and she's saying I'm too old to act like this. She's also saying it's the culture barrier that led us to this point. So, here I am, trying to look for a new perspective. Update 1. I want to admit that I ignored a number of red flags he displayed in the past years, brushing it off as differences in our culture and upbringing. I thought I was being open-minded and accommodating, not knowing that I should have opened up a deeper conversation regarding what I want if I were to deepen our relationship. Last night, after much thought and input I received from Redditors, friends, and family, I had dinner with him alongside my father. Long story short, he still didn't want to end our relationship. He apologized, saying he misspoke and wanted to fix his mistake. He said it was because he was too comfortable with me since I'm not a confrontational person, and he's realizing now that I did help quite a lot with his chores, like bringing side dishes, helping clean up his place every now and then, and so on, so he thought I'll always be accommodating to what he wants. I also apologized for never really bringing this kind of topic seriously, and not making sure we were on the same page whenever we did discuss this type of topic. He agreed that I should have told him before because that way, things would have never gotten to this point. I know it's my fault too, but it didn't feel good at all hearing that from him. Even if he had admitted his faults and never spoke badly to me before except for that one time, I still can't shake off my distrust of him. I don't know why, but what happened last week made me feel instantly repulsed. So, I returned the ring he gave me, and told him I'll return more than half of the amount we used to buy our house. He initially refused the money, saying he instead wants to keep trying to win back my trust. He wants me to keep in contact with him, but this morning, he said I can transfer his money because the marriage is not really happening now, and he tried to prevent me from selling the house or telling our mutual friends that marriage is off the table. So, I just updated almost all of my group chats that now I'm single, and I'm also here to tell everyone that I'm single because my now ex-fiancé got a red flag so big, China would be crying with envy. I feel like a jerk to be honest because it seems like my feelings for him were shallow all along, but maybe reality hasn't hit me yet, but that's that.